right? So it says an e-commerce business has contacted you as a solutions architect to draw up an architectural design for their new portal for their customers in Africa. They want to ensure their application has a very low latency and can also store their user relational information securely and also be able to be retrieved fast. The portal is expected to store some pictures for products. The business also wants to ensure the application is fault tolerant and highly available. Although they are low on budgets, they also want to ensure the application is highly secured, both at rest and in transit, and from unauthorized access. You should also factor in monitoring and logging of your application. So let's start from the top and look at the components that we can look at. Now, one thing about architecture is that there is no right, let me put it that way, there's no completely right or wrong approach, right? It's always up for improvement. So that is the first thing that you need to know moving into your solution architect career, or wherever you find yourself. Now we'll start from the top, right? So it says an e-commerce business has contacted you to draw. That's fine. Now for their new portal for their customers in Africa. So once they mention Africa, you are looking at a region that is has close proximity to customers in Africa. And the other time, it might not necessarily be a region in Africa, actually, right? It might not actually be a region in Africa. When you use is it the latency test, or what do you call it? You are able to see the server that will give you the lowest latency possible. Okay. So you are looking at the region that will give you, that is close to your customers, right? So here we will not specify a region anyway, but then we know that we have a region, that has close proximity to our customers. The next thing, they want to ensure, okay, that's it. The application have very low latency and can also store their user relational information securely. So we are looking at user relational information, secure storage of relational information. So here we are looking at a database service, right? So we are looking at either RDS or Aurora, right? They are all database services. By the time we end, we will see which one to choose and also be able to be retrieved fast. So we are looking at a database that has a higher IOPS. The portal is expected to store some pictures for products. So we are looking at storage of static objects. So here we can consider S3. And then the business also wants to ensure their application is fault tolerant and highly available. So we are looking at fault tolerance and high availability. So here we are also looking at a multi-AZ. A multi-AZ deployment. And we can also do a failover system. So we can have a standby system that automatically switches. Okay. And we are also looking at auto scaling. Right?
What about the load balancer?
Yes, so yes, we also have load balancer as well. Okay. Hey, I then have me type it. Okay. Now, although they are low on budget, so we are looking at costs, right? They also want to ensure their application is highly secured, both at rest and in transit, and from unauthorized access. So we are looking at all the security measures that we can put in place We can look at security groups. Okay, we can look at network access control lists. We can look at guard duty. We can look at WAF, web application firewall. And there is also a monitoring factor. You should also factor in monitoring and logging of your application. So we can also do CloudTrail for audit logs for API calls, right? And then we'll do what? CloudWatch. Right. Now, let's look at the choice of database that we will use. Then we'll go into the architectural drawings. They are low on budget, right? And they would also want a high IOPS database, or they want a database that can store their relational information securely and also be retrieved fast. But looking at the case of RDS and Aurora, in as much as Aurora has like higher performance, right? And then by default, it does this read replica thing. It replicates your data in multiple availability zones, and you can even do cross region. But that might not be for the company, right? Looking at the fact that they are on a low budget. So we can still use RDS and then have the same architecture, right? That is what I think. Instead of using Aurora, and it's 7 customers in Africa. So we are just looking at a particular region, or yes, a particular geographical area. If we are looking at a global kind of system, or yes, a system that is worldwide available, then we can now consider using Aurora, right? So I think for just specified geographical location, RDS will be, best for this use case. It's still open for discussion anyway. This one there, it's open for discussion. So I beg, everybody should bring whatever they think, right? So this you can do. It's the website is draw.io, but after you finish registering, this is what you get: app.diagrams.net. I think you can also access it through this same link. So you are able to choose whatever you want to do. So first you type your name, and then the saving, you can either save it in an XML file, an editable bitmap image, an editable vector image, that is SVG, or an HTML file. So any of them that you would want to save your file in, you can do that, right? So for starters, we just use the PNG. And then yes, we are doing a cloud architecture, and then it's AWS. So we choose AWS. These are templates that we can select from. There is a 2D and there is a 3D, but we just create it from scratch. And root folder. So what is the root folder? Let me just select yes. You can also, I've integrated it with my Google Drive. That is why I was asking me that question. So I'll be able to select a specific folder in my drive, or I can just put it on the Google Drive. So to create my page for me, and let me open it in a new window. Great. So this is our window. Let me pull this up. Right. For this one, I can't hide it, but I can make it smaller. And okay, here too, I cannot. Let's do a full screen, but I wouldn't be able to select my, so This way is better. So we will come over initially. Let me just put it in. Okay, so we'll start, right? So first we'll specify our region. You can do a landscape. You can do it in the landscape format, or you can do it in the portrait format, right? So if you want landscape, you just choose landscape, and then it comes this way. Okay, so let's stick with the landscape. I think this one is better. All right. So first we'll draw our region. Okay. I'll just search AWS region. There are a lot of diagrams that we can choose from. I want the one with the AWS logo. Just search region, because I used it in my previous one, so I don't. Hey, they have taken their thing. Okay, so if that is the case, then I'll just go with the more results. Anyway, let me just choose this. So we'll draw it big to cover the whole sheet. I mean, don't you see? So we have our region. And then we'll now draw our availability zones. We are doing a multi-AZ deployment. This line, I want a text line. And I want a black line so that it will be more visible. Great. Something like this is okay. And we'll draw our availability zones. So that one should have availability. I want that we can choose this type or this type, but I want this one. This one is okay for me. If you look at the availability view where I spelled. So I'll have my AZ here, extend it. And I'll duplicate it and put this one here. Great. So we have our AZs, right? Our availability zones. Zone 1, zone 2. The next thing we are going to do is to create our VPC, right? So I'll search Amazon VPC. And that one will also extend this way. Nice. So we now have our private cloud. We have our private cloud now. So we'll start with our architecture. Now we'll do, you said it has an application, right? And that would want to also store relational data. So it means that we'll have a subnet for the application. and then we have a subnet for the database. So we have one public subnet in each availability zone, and you have two private subnets. Two subnets. So there's a public subnet, a private subnet. So we'll do the public. This is Adiwina. Amen. So this is our public subnets. One. I'll duplicate this one and oh no. Send it here. Then we'll now have our private subnets. Let me see the dimensions. 330 by 270. Okay, 170. Good. And I'll just make a copy. Yeah. I'll do another copy. Yeah. And another copy also comes here. Great. So we have our anyway, whatever happens, when I finish, I'll adjust all of them again. Anyway. So this is our private cloud, our virtual private cloud. And you can see it's a multi-AZ. Okay. Now let's go to the question itself. So the application has very low latency, and then so first let's look at the database, right? So I will use RDS. We need a logo for RDS. Okay, so this is RDS. We'll just use this one. So put the RDS here, right? And then the RDS, because they want fast retrieval, we'll create what? A read replica of the RDS. Okay, so this is a read or write RDS, right? So the RDS is here. Oh no. And then we have what? A read replica of the RDS. Now, for fault tolerance sake, we'll create what? A standby, right? A standby instance. This is for a multi-AZ deployment. So we'll create a standby for this RDS. So in case there is any crash here, there will be a failover to the standby instance. So this is a multi-AZ kind of deployment, right? In some, some choose to add the drawing as well. So for it to show that, okay, this is a standby, but I will be okay with this, or I think it's just okay. was the diagram itself or the logo itself reads that RDS standby multi AZ. Okay, now we come to our private subnet. And then EC2. This is EC2. Right, and then we'll have the minimum 2. I'll duplicate the same here. Okay. We want our instance to auto scale. Okay, for high availability. So we have to add an auto scaling group here. So this one, I'll search auto scaling. I don't want this diagram. Oh. There's one that had a failed image. Let me just come here and copy this one. This is what I want. Okay, so we have an auto scaling group. And this one I can just draw a rectangle, or I'll choose AWS region. I'll use this one. Okay, I'll extend it across. All right. I'll change the fill color to orange. Nice. And right, so we have auto scaling for our EC2 instance. When we are done, we'll do the connections, right? We'll do the connections. Now for internet connectivity, I'll add an internet gateway. We should have even done that one first. Okay, it depends on what's the case study, whatever. In the case of this case study, we should have added an internet gateway. So add, let's use this one. An internet gateway. Great. So there's an internet gateway that enables what? Internet connectivity. So talk of internet connectivity, we'll attach a NAT gateway here to enable what? Communication, outbound traffic from here to through the internet, right? So look for NAT gateway. and this is a NAT gateway. So we put that one here. I'll duplicate it here as well. Right, so we have our NAT gateway here. Nice. What else? So for security purposes, to control traffic that enters here and then go out, we also need what? Security groups. So I will use this one. And we are aware, or we know that the security group works at the instance level. All right, so this is okay. I'll duplicate the same thing here. Eh? Let me just delete it and then add it. Okay, great. So we have our security group. And what else? What else? What else? All right, so Prince made mention of a load balancer, and the load balancer usually, communicates with the auto scaling group, right? It's used, so we'll use a load balancer, ALB. So in this case, are we using a network load balancer or an application load balancer? I think an application load balancer will be fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So use an application load balancer here. Nice. Let me bring it to the top small. Okay. I think we are done in here. Okay, so for object storage, now my problem was where to put the object storage and then where to connect it, right? And then we are looking at encryption at rest. So I'm looking at S3, and there should be one that has a padlock. Yeah, so S3 with object lock. I honestly don't know if that is the right drawing for the right icon for the encryption of data at rest. If somebody can quickly look it up, we can see. I think a simple Google search will be able to bring out. It is 77. That's still an outpost. Bracket with objects. I think that should be it. So. All right, so this is our S3 bucket. We'll find a place and then put it where it's right. So we have our load balancer, we have our internet gateway, and then another thing. So for monitoring, we need to have what? CloudWatch. So we'll search for Amazon CloudWatch. This is CloudWatch. So usually, since it's going to monitor your architecture for, metrics and then logging, that one can be within the region. I think they are global services, right? So it can be within the region, right? Instead of in the VPC, so that it monitors the whole thing here. And we also need CloudTrail for CloudTrail, I think CloudTrail will be for API. So that one can be within the architecture. But let me just bring it and then we'll find where to put it. Okay. And there's no icon for CloudTrail.
There is one. I think the greens. I chanced on one.
Yeah, there is it. So this one, let me put it somewhere here. Yeah, remember so later. Hey, who copied my message? Somebody copied my message. Okay. And
disable annotation.
Thank you for that quick. All right. So we have our class. Let me even put it somewhere. There you are. James Dacon. That was quick. And so we have CloudTrail, talked of WAF. So the web application firewall also stays here. And guard duty. So when we finish, we will also audit it and see if there is some that we have to, actually remove, since we are also looking at cost. So if there are something that does the same work, then there's no need of bringing the other one. So guard duty. So we can look at all of them. So this is guard duty. I'll put guard duty also here. And since customers will be now, during the session, Abdul introduced elastic IPs for this one and this one, which I disagree based on what we looked at. Was it 2 days ago or 3 days ago? That is actually a bad architecture design to introduce elastic IPs. Right? It actually tells that the architecture is not strong. So we are not going to introduce an elastic IP. I think the elastic load balancer does the work of, getting a constant or a static IP address for whatever we have. But as it was suggested, we need something. We need to register, what's it called? A DNS, right? And for security, instead of just doing a DNS, we use Route 53, right? So instead of bringing a DNS fencing, a DNS logo here, we'll do Route 53. We'll rather choose a Route 53 logo. Okay, so the Route 53 is what the user will hit before now enters the VPC, and then now the traffic goes to the, what's it called? The elastic load balancer, and then goes to the EC2 instances. So I feel like since there will be API calls as well, right? Because from the customer's point and then from the developer's point or whoever manages the application. So we have one for API calls, and then we'll have one for the user. Or we should have, I think this is the best thing to do, right? So like these connections are isolated from each other, right? So that both of them doesn't actually use the same connection. And what again? So yes, I think when we have API calls here, then we have the cloud trail somewhere. So now we'll bring our users. So users, it's this one. So the users there is outside. The users will be outside. And then we need CloudFront. Right. So see here. Yeah, so this is also for CloudFront. Let me also put it here. This one, the CloudFront. I think we have everything we need, right? Let me see. So I'm tempted to introduce an API gateway, but I don't know how to use it. So unless anyone has, where we can properly place it. If not, we just leave it out. I want a laptop icon or a PC icon. So something like this. Awesome. So this is what we have. So I think CloudTrail. Let me open. This one also, so that I can arrange this one. Nice. Now connection. I'll still leave these ones at the top here. And let's start from, so at 53. This way. Good. So now we are doing connections. So for our 53, traffic will be routed to the load balancer. Yeah, this traffic also will be routed to the load balancer. Here, right? And then let me send this in out. Okay. And now this one connects to the auto scaling group. So this is how the connection is going to be. Group, but how do I select this? All right. Nice. So this is C2. I should have probably placed the security group before. Okay. And this one also connects to this way. Now this EC2 right sends information to the RDS database. This one should be a FSN. Both sent, so it has to be a two-sided arrow, right? I'm looking at how we are going to do it. Or do you just send the read?
Yeah, do read and write, make them 2 arrows.
Yeah. And I think this one should also be like that. Hey. Now where I'll get to that thing is okay, nice. So I think this one should also work. Nice. And we can have a connection from here added to this. We are good, right? So now let's go back to the question. The portal is expected to store some pictures for products. So if the portal is storing pictures, is it right that we just do a connection like this? Hey. We do a connection that connects to just this line. I don't know. I feel like this thing should either connect to, I feel like this one should connect to a resource, right? Or it should be up here together with the cloud font. Let's finish this one first.
But the S3 bucket will be global service, right?
Yeah, global service.
So should it be in the region? Should it like be located inside I mean for the outside.
Yeah, so yeah, for day outside somewhere. Let me put it here.
You sure say for the outside?
Let me just do a quick.
I don't see any diagram with there outside before.
Let me just do
Outside the region.
No. Like in the for day inside the region. I think.
You say the region inside.
Yeah, for day inside the region.
But it's
the
outside
region
the,
inside,
it's
but then
outside
put
the availability zone.
Yeah, but outside
the
but outside the
availability zone.
availability zone.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this will be on a regional. This one a region this. So this one, no connections comes here because it's for standby. Right.
Isaac, I don't know to clarify something. If they say it's a global service, to me, I feel like it's a service that's available in all the regions.
Yes. So
you
don't need to specify a region for it.
So it's available in all the regions. So usually it's you can't. Let's say for S3, for instance, if you should choose S3, there's no way they will go and pick an S3 service in another, even though it's available around you, in another region.
Yeah.
They will definitely find the one closest to you or closest to whoever the client will they serve.
Yeah. And so I also feel like there should be a connection coming from some of the resources here, right, to the S3, and then now the S3 to CloudFront, and then now from CloudFront to the user. So the user accesses the resource here through CloudFront. You get it? And CloudFront also have this AWS shield protection. So yes, to also protect it against DDoS attacks or multiple requests from either the same IP or multiple IP addresses.
So I'm thinking the CloudFront should be between the load balancer and then the auto scaling group. Then you connect the CloudFront to the S3 bucket.
So like it should be somewhere here.
Yeah, so see every request pass through. I'm not sure. I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way the request could pass through.
But then the CloudFront also should be like that close to the user.
Yeah.
I try to look up some diagram bit and see how it's implemented.
Or between the users and then the
I feel like we should have some connection like this, right? And then now the user also connects to here. But as to if this one should stay here inside the region or outside the region.
CloudFront said be global.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it should be between the users and then the Route 23, so that it is direct to the users because it is a content delivery service. It's direct to the users and then it delivers from the what's it called, the S3 bucket.
Okay. So let me delete this connection. and I'll delete this one. So CloudFront. Oh, send back.
Prince,
Yeah.
you know, say like the thing to in many architectures, like
Mm.
they place the cloud front close to the user or the client so that they can be able to optimize their content delivery. And like the load balancers now usually positioned between like the infrastructure to distribute the traffic to the application service. Like
Yeah.
because that setup has to ensure that there's actually low latency and like high availability to your application or maybe to the websites that you are trying to
Yeah.
work with. It's
Yeah.
maybe it's a specific placement or configuration that may vary, like depending on the needs and requirements of your application. I mean, that's what
Exactly.
I'm thinking.
Yeah. So that's what happens as I'm suggesting the cloud front is placed directly to the users in between the users and then Route 53.
Okay, so Ruswan
So that it will also
just posted something. Yeah, I think it's just like this.
in the chat or on WhatsApp.
Yes, on WhatsApp. I think it's the same as this. Yes, so yeah, I think it's just like this.
Yeah. It's just a thing between the Route 53 and then the cloud front.
So Route 53, Cloud Front. I know they see this one. I know they see this one too. Okay, the load balancer thing here.
Okay, great. So now for storage, EFS, a network flash shared file system. For backups.
No, I don't think we need EFS for this. I don't know if the scenario they need EFS because like the users need to be working on files like
Yes.
at the same time or something. It's just for content of like photos and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, where the objects to. So if it's going to be edited, it will be edited like the whole object will be edited.
Will be edited.
Not parts.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm thinking EFS will be.
Okay, so we can have. All right. So it means this one won't come between the. So the user hits Route 53. So we can have something like this. Right? And then yes, the S3 bucket will be here. Now we'll have. Is it a good thing for the users to just directly access the S3 bucket?
The S3 bucket. I was wondering this particular diagram. Why the users are like directly accessing from the
the S3 bucket.
Unless maybe like they're developers or something.
So I actually put this one here for the developers. The developers will also do a connection from here. Okay.
Users. Well, what are the instances that are RDAs? I'm using some
so this one.
EFS mount start.
But the S3 buckets, are they like intended to be like public repositories by default?
No.
Okay.
So the direction is like users are only writing into it.
No, so it's actually
Okay.
the portal. Is the portal, right? Saving pictures. This is it. So the portal is expected to store some pictures for products.
Yeah.
You get it.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's just
Then,
like you having an e-commerce website. So all the pictures that you see for the product, those images are stored in an S3 bucket. So when you open Jumia and then you are seeing an iPhone, a picture of an iPhone, those images are saved in an S3 bucket. So it is
that means that if
so it is
you
not
will just be inadvertently exposing data like to the public.
exactly. So it's
No,
so here
I don't think
so it's not
But
the
there's some
public.
full security risk.
So yeah, so it's not the public who is actually writing to it. It's more or less like our application saving pictures, right, onto the buckets.
Okay.
So when the customer visits the website, they are able to see it. So they are actually not accessing the image from the S3 buckets directly.
So this
I think
this access management is from AWS, not from us.
no, I think the users that are saving, if you watch the diagram that's Respawn posted,
Yeah.
the direction of the arrow is towards the S3 bucket, which means that users are only writing to the
To
S3
it.
bucket. They're
Okay.
not
Okay.
retrieving.
They are not retrieving data.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's
So
fine.
any retrieval is going through CloudFront. If you look at the directions, you see
Yeah.
that arrow is a two-headed arrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they only retrieve through CloudFront to the users. So that means the users that are saving to the static to the S3 bucket are like the application normal term products, not the users who are buying. So maybe the how do they even call them? The people who are selling, right?
Yeah.
Because they need to put their products on the website for
On the
sale. They need
website,
to
yeah.
save.
They need to save. Okay.
They need to save on the S3 bucket. So that is what those users are doing.
Hello guys.
Yes, boss.
Bro, you hear me?
Yeah,
they
we
hear
hear
you.
you.
They hear you.
I think the one makes some small contribution. I might be wrong, but from looking at the diagram on the WhatsApp group, I think the users that are able to access the bucket, they are much more closer to the files than imagining having to get or access the cache from the CloudFront. So I think maybe the distance might come into play. Maybe if the users were not closer to the S3 bucket. I don't know if it make any sense, but maybe to reduce the latency and things too. So that'd be why probably the ones closest to the S3 bucket are fetching the file from here instead of the cache file and wasn't it? Abi Yubab.
Yeah, so
I did try understand, but
yeah. No, so
I'm
what
not
we are
about
doing is
you.
that you see now I was trying to understand. I'm also trying to understand it, but I think I understand your question. Now the users, right, are in the region. They are close to, let's say, Africa. So let's say we are in Ghana, but then for the purpose, maybe the server is in South Africa. The server is in Paris. You understand? So to bring the content very close to us, we still need to use CloudFront. You understand? We still need to use cloud.
You see, one thing to be say, we they undermine the role of the DNS. There are 53. Basically, there are 53 ways to show where what for go. So if you are outside Africa, anywhere at all you be, the DNS way will show how far you are from the service. So
right.
it will go through even the DNS before it will go the CloudFront.
Yeah, it goes through the DNS before it goes through the CloudFront. So,
so
right now our position. Yeah. So right now the problem is the placement of the S3, right? S3 now we understand that users can write directly to the S3 buckets. Okay. Now this thing, connection has to go through the Route 53 here. And then to the, what's it called? To CloudFront, right? To and fro CloudFront. And also still goes to the, for retrieval purposes, it will also connect, it has to also connect to the CloudFront, has to also connect to the S3 buckets again. You get it? So our problem is how to do the connections now. I think so. The
So
position.
S3
Uh-huh.
Please go ahead.
I was going to ask why we get two why we get two Route 53.
There are 53. So this one for API calls, right? From, what's it called? Developers. Or we can choose to just leave them out. Right? The info is it's just the users accessing it.
Why can't one Route 53 handle the whole thing?
So I don't think it's a good thing. That's what I was thinking. It's a good thing for users, right? Just users and then developers to have the same connection point.
Okay.
Because if you are connecting, because if you are connecting, like it's more or less like you're having a back-end connection, right? So definitely it has to, because if users and then developers are all, and then developers are not connecting, as your friend is saying, the normal users, right? They are definitely doing some API calls. Okay, if the user types this thing, it should triggers this, it should trigger this. So the API calls should also go through a different, because if you have the same connection, it's more or less like you are opening your connection, just like the example Nee said, you are definitely exposing your network.
So the developer, what role will he be playing?
Yeah, so so you know that
by the developers.
So just like every application works, okay. So it's not basically a physical developer, but then
so it's more like an API call.
An API
call. And all that. So let's say there's what do you call it? So it comes in two folds, whereby we have the developer maybe working on the web application. Then we have the application itself accessing the resource on the cloud. You get me? So that particular app you talk about is just the users. If they are using it, it's just the users going through the application before it hits the application hits the other resources on the cloud. Did you get me? So it will depend on what the developer they actually do. If they say it go the back end go work, I don't think there are 53 is necessary. Where if it be say it be the app where they want some API connection to it, I think don't you think maybe Amazon has that thing through the IAM and all that for you to connect? I might be wrong though.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Richard, I think that will depend on the advantages both the user and the developer is sharing. For example, you should know that they will all have like collaboration advantages, so that if they share the same connection point, for instance, you can be able to like facilitate collaboration and communication. Like, the developer will actually gain first-hand insights into how the users are interacting with the system. You get it?
Yeah.
So maybe if you're looking at like raw world testing, maybe we want to test, the developer actually has more access to observe like the real world user behavior. And that will even assist in like be identifying issues and improving usability, making data driven and all of that. It's all for the application improvement.
And in that case, I'm thinking the developer should use the same Route 53 as the users to be able to.
Of course.
Because definitely just the DNS.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then again too, the disadvantage that can cause, if there can be a security and a privacy breach, it means that when they share the same environment, like sensitive and confidential data too is involved. So the developers have to be mindful of the data protection and access controls. That's the downside to all of this. And even if you are looking at that, you still have to look at stability. Like the developer can potentially impact the stability of the environment, and that will go ahead to affect the users. So like maybe when there are changes and updates, maybe debugging and all of those things are better users, you know. So
but I'm thinking
like the way I
even if the developer wants to access the application or something through the backend, does the developer necessarily have to use the Route 53?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. That is why.
It just the domain name server. Just the
you know we just domain name server.
Then what again did you do?
So
the CloudWatch, the security, that be the CloudWatch.
Yes. So it's also for security, like it provides security. It's just it doesn't do just domain name resolution.
So any other thing apart from this?
No.
I'm thinking, okay, we haven't really looked at Route 53 in the sense because maybe it has maybe some capabilities of checking the IP addresses that access the application or something.
That CloudWatch is also part of the what do you call it?
The security measures.
Elastic cache.
But
elastic cache, no.
Elastic cache is for you caching in memory data for database. So we have to be.
No. Your friend said is that then for your friend? This one for you. If you cache, your friend CloudFront. CloudFront to get that protection.
Yes, you get that protection.
You get CloudWatch, right?
CloudFront, no, they do the content delivery. With the Route 53, they check, they route the data to the DNS in the back. So me, I'm thinking that my only problem was that we had to, where Ike was saying he was going to use the other one for the developers to access the system. That was my question. I didn't really.
So IAM there is for just a you. What's it called? Access management. UBAB.
Yeah.
If you are logging in, and then you are not a recognized user. You don't even hit the connection that it does not even hit the Route 53.
Exactly.
UBAB.
There are 53. There are 53 days. As you explained, maybe some application with a develop, where for pick resource, if for go the in situ instance and access some databases and come back. Isn't it the same thing as the user also accessing these resources?
No, okay. So let me I can give you this example. So
more use practical example.
So yes, for practical example. So I worked on there is a ticketing app that we worked on, right? So there is an API that serves organizers, and there is an API that serves users. You get it?
Okay.
Now, as an organizer, you would want to check ticket sales. You would want to add like more tickets, right? If maybe a particular ticket is being sold out, you would want to add it. You understand? So the route that the user uses to the application is different from. So it's like you have two different URLs. You understand?
Okay.
So it's like you're having, let's say, user.tickets.com, and then you have like an organizer.tickets.com. So there is an organizer app, there is a user app. So definitely both of them cannot use the same DNS, unless we say that we can actually register multiple DNS on one. On the same Route 53.
I think we we just need to
Around
know.
53, I mean around 53, they manage DNS. They don't only want DNS. They
Yeah, they
actually
talk
manage
say.
a lot of
Yeah, they can
DNS.
talk say. We need to take a critical look at what Route 53 can do before we can.
Uh-huh.
We can.
Because around 53,
But,
they manage a lot of DNS.
but
If you click, what do they call them? Let's say you use facebook.com or fb.com. It goes straight to the DNS server. Then it will send another communication go another server. Make the server give them facebook.com in IP address, the page in IP address.
Exactly.
Then the DNS will convert that particular IP into the domain name that the facebook.com that we know. You see, it did a little the way they do that. So not necessarily only one domain name, but they do a lot of domains.
Yeah, but then you know, say for like so on the same Facebook platform, right? If there should be an API call, the API call is not done through the usual facebook.com.
Yes, there's that too. But how do we know that they're not using the same DNS service in the web?
I think for like the same shared connection points, there are three things that we have to just look out for: security, stability, and like access.
Yeah.
You see. So if we are like we're able to strike a balance between these three, we'll know why maybe the user and the developer should actually share the same connection points, and for what reasons they may not be able to share the same connection point. For example, let's say if you want to mitigate like some of the disadvantages that will come with it, maybe we have to look at like the user role, like the access control. You get it within the shared environment. Maybe if we want to implement thorough
Richard,
testing and
your
quality,
dog they make noise.
we all can dog that.
Yeah.
So we have to look at like it based on the roles each one is playing, both the user and like both the developer.
So
like
okay, so let's say they use the same
example
Route 53, right? And then we are logging the activities. How do we differentiate IP addresses of the services that made the API calls and then the IP addresses from the users?
I think API calls, they're basically timestamps, right? Timestamps where they use the take track them. So if I'm not exactly sure how to do it, but I'm just saying basically we need to know exactly the
what Route
details of
53 does.
Exactly.
Let me check
judge.
Yeah, so kindly do some check and then let's just
a big a whole subject.
Oh, I'll just use it in reference to AWS architectures, then we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. So they are saying that the Route 53 is a highly scalable and reliable domain name service by AWS. It is used for routing domain and subdomain requests, blah, 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 blah. Okay. In AWS architectures, one, it is used for the following purposes: user-facing DNS. So Route 53 is often used for managing DNS records that directs end-user traffic to your application or website. This allows users to access your services via user-friendly domain names. Two, development and testing. Route 53 can be used for development and testing environments. For example, you might create DNS records within Route 53 to route developer or staging traffic to different AWS resources. In both cases, users and developers can use the same Route 53 service, but the configuration and management of DNS records may differ. It is essential to maintain a clear distinction between production, development, and testing environments to avoid unintentional disruption of user-facing services. You can use Route 53 features like traffic policies, health checks, and geolocation routing to control how DNS traffic is routed and ensure the stability and reliability of your applications. To summarize, Route 53 can be used for both user-facing DNS and development testing environments. A proper configuration and access controls should be in place to manage these services effectively without compromising the end user experience.
That's all. Thank you very much for the response.
So
thanks very much.
Right.
This thing helps to solve our problem.
Yeah, this clarifies the whole thing. So just with basic, with proper configuration, we can use the same Route 53 to work with both users and developers.
Yeah.
Let me take put the group inside.
So let's keep one and continue with the rest and see.
She said, I do like this one past the movie,
You like what?
This is the actual
architectural drawing. The architectural drawing past the movie.
This is the actual job.
But this is the actual job.
This is the actual job.
That's what they be more.
Figuring out the whole architecture actually will be something.
Charlie, when I would try 999. Where they give you job, I know with Gigi you go.
You go do actually.
Go cook Gigi where this one day inside. Lumps the inside.
Bobby the inside. Isaac.
I did you. Me, I did think of where.
Or drink. He did think. This boy, you see him like that. He just did think.
I didn't think where this how we do the connection between this cloud fronts then this thing.
The Glogano to how we solve them. We just put them for some place.
Where? Which one?
The bucket. The S3 bucket in the bit.
I mean the S3 bucket
there.
I mean the bucket there. Now they see the user go feel right like directly to us. So this one is like this is okay, right? Now as to so we can do cloud front.
So we get an arrow, a two-headed arrow, right? And from users to the ma so kakra ma Route 53 no control na fa cloud front to share say.
Charlie, but check like you forget this one. So how the S3 buckets they connect to the whole infrastructure because enough for go through the user. So don't you think maybe if I link the bucket to maybe the cloud front?
It will come. It will connect them.
Okay.
It will connect them to the cloud front, which will also go into the Route 53 because users go try retrieve from the application. Yeah. If you make the arrowhead bigger, because it will see them better.
Charlie, Africa, they will get problem.
Why also?
Charlie, this thing they see, I get some projects like maybe next month. I go use the AWS too. But Charlie, who diagram services now they are there. No, as I go do, Charlie, that costs the cost we get. Already, I think of how Charlie, and then will be any so I do Charlie. Make the amount no go up. Charlie, now they go break the 53 letters. Charlie see to RDS now telephone. No, you know, go use that if God will grace me, maybe near the back easy to back for VPN and as some VPN service be attacked. I know. Around 53 this my internet gateway ni nyama ni the Charlie.
Oh, I know be app, it know be like publicly accessible
no,
app.
be public accessible app. It just be one company where they want you.
How then that one they give one.
You go put $1,000 for credit card, but yeah, it's prepaid card is soon. Charlie, right now companies come with Charlie. Then they run containers for the cloud top. When then they give out, like they tell you the host buy, then they will give you the server, make you access some via what do they call them? RDP and things. But Charlie, if it's spider infrastructure, is this one the AWS or maybe this one they call them Azure? But then just the run containers and just the dispatch them. The only thing is that they give you fixed for a month. If you pay $300 a month, you pay $300. In about that be the safety, so 300. Actually, first five, it's been like 4 months. One of them we use. It would be like the Amazon we use like right this time. I'm not sure say we use more than $50 because me sure now will be on course and I just go quench them. I carry on here. Man, dream baby. I didn't finish starting.
Like the arrow from the users to the 53 and I'm an double headed, right? And make it go back to the users. Sita, are you there? And I want to withdraw that.
Sita, Madam.
Madana.
Mother. I just want
Senior man.
Hey, Chairman.
For the past 4 or 5 days. Hey.
You sleep or
I bet. Hey. I say 7 o'clock. I say alarm. They won't wait only 2 hours. I wake up 4 o'clock. Where?
By this time, it goes
inform gross guy.
It go do you like you did coma.
Oh, very sad. I say, like one time we are joined. Check like I did some trance. Hey, like then they talk where I don't know whether I bed or I did in the middle of Charlie. Whether it be dream where Isaac they talk or a bed cry.
Isaac.
Yeah.
You know, say left smack at the end of this meeting. At the transition from my phone go. At the transition, my phone go malapi. Well, he said, if you host and then the rep say end.
Yeah.
Recording in progress.
You will take time. You will take the host will take that job from you. I will take it, Sita. You know who hosts them.
It be the co-host thing now with the warrior.
Yeah.
There were settings never change and make enable the co-host.
Guys, so now I think we are up to here. We finish I will talk something.
Okay.
No. We could finish. We could finish this one. mm. So now it comes here. At the camera. So make I put this NAT gateway. So this NAT gateway, it they take traffic from here, right? But they come back.
But that's the subnet with the NAT gateway inside. So instance, the application instance for the there.
Yeah. The application for the there. But you see, as far most of this kind of architectures for e-commerce website, and it be always like this. They put the instance there. I don't know why.
But they come. The NAT gateway rather for the.
No, you go do that. Is that? You don't go do the private subnet. I don't know the. So.
No. Now they talk something say every diagram you go see there, then instance no dey there.
Like the yes, the instance no dey the public subnet inside. It's like most of the e-commerce instance or so you see even just like the picture that Rosemont posted, you can see that there's no instance in the public subnet. I don't know why it is so.
Yeah. So the application the subnet just before. I wonder how they
exactly. So and you see today when Abdul was also doing the thing, he also didn't put any application in the public subnet.
So what did that the public subnet to create? What did they inside?
Well.
Yeah, they wonder.
I know Sonny.
Because if I say the data go the private, then maybe.
Okay, so from the diagram we Rosemont post now, the application load balancer, it take the traffic, go the instances of then go direct them go the NAT gateway. From the NAT gateway back to the internet gateway to the user. So the NAT gateway just did the public subnet.
Yeah. So we check like so let's say it feed them this way, right? And then through now it comes this hey, I did with super or I think we can it's right that we do it this way too. And I'm a but
it make like it go join the load balancer by separate connection crown this
but yes, they go the internet gateway talk. So
yeah,
so if you do am straight make it go the internet gateway talk. Make it join the line to the load balancer.
Again.
Come on, we're a graphic designer. I mean, go anywhere, sir.
Adobe architectural designer.
Which kind of pressure this? No, make it go the not the internet gateway top.
Uncle. Let me take it from there.
Daniel Tete.
Daniel, ask questions. So, if you are lost, you say where you are lost. That is no mind.
If you now they join or.
Boss, you ask questions. Ask questions. I answer there.
If you be now they join there, you go lost. You go lost.
Yeah, if you join like down there, obey. So
evil forest inside.
So this we have
make you base the question.
But you ask the question and then let's see.
Sometimes Zita could feel help out, make it base. Make it.
So I think it's this way. So it takes it from here, goes here, and then now through the internet, and then now feeds the customers.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Well, this one they look nice. So.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Okay.
So now we need an elastic cache here.
Elastic cache.
In
memory database.
So we can either use memcache or for Redis.
Or Redis. Memcache or Redis.
Redis be costly than memcache. But memcache to be old.
They no get money. Make you use memcache, give them. They get money. I go Redis.
You know, if you afford router, but we use what do they call it? Cisco application DNS. Cisco phone packet tracer. You know if you afford. So this be AWS in packet tracer that.
Into cloud
the two subnets don't forget.
So in case there is
the two subnets don't forget.
So in case there is a failover, then it switches to this subnet. So it doesn't switch from just the resource to resource.
Not the subnet though. It's the availability zone rather.
Yeah, it's actually the availability zone. When it switches there, all these also should be in place.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Now I can't CloudTrail, maybe
You know, at the back, why need this that question? You know how we go differentiate them? Try put them for the line top, the availability zone in the line also. Now you say any subnet name.
You mean the elastic cache?
Yeah. For the line top, kakana, you say availability zone there, and yet
no, but the elastic cache is for the database. Like it doesn't like anything you see. It's actually for the data, but it's actually for the database. So it should be at where the database is.
I get you. But they make it look like for the. But anyway, make it the family.
So the two availability zone is on my here wrong.
So my care. Charlie, if something like this, like you did the exam center, like Charlie,
people will come out crying.
So this how you will cry. You come and you know say you feel already. Yes.
Somebody like Prince, you know the thing. By the click and drag, they know the drag. Click and drag.
They'll give you the diagram and say use it to answer the following 5 questions.
Wait,
but if they give, I think
no, say Ghana, what's that question? What's that question I had too much? It cost riot. Those days for university, lecture question the day I was in the office.
Cloud
Actually,
no, let's see something. So you should also factor in monitoring and logging of your application. And any cloud training. Because so I think since we are not doing any REST API calls, CloudTrail can go, and then we just use CloudWatch for monitoring and logging the application metrics because there are CloudWatch logs as well.
It didn't say we should log API calls.
API calls.
User,
yeah. Anyway, so Chalada na Ogidi say this thing like for do mid of the model.
Well, I thought to say. So we just giddy. This is you gonna say, Charlie. You need to come play.
You don't mean you bet you go at channels we ain't go to.
Hey, we go ahead. God duty. You see now, what build you know? Charlie, IT, you know be cocoa like that too. What build you know? If I do
me, I ask, you know the question I ask myself. I ask myself, say this God duty cloud trading things. Charlie, then the knee side that. Yeah, the FAA said the show.
I
like AWS.
Is there?
People say infrastructure say what the budget question.
I said I didn't talk something.
Yeah. It's why you know. I was saying when you have to also prepare documentation. You understand? To explain why
you
for the work you do.
If I explain why the arrows they go where they go, this day inside, you know, Charlie. When you put this, oh, the side in the only way, yeah, that might not be a problem.
Yeah, bro, is a problem.
Oh.
Yeah, technical language is a problem. The problem.
Well, because if you don't know what you could do, I don't know how you could know the directions of how the writing and the reading they go and things.
Template go they go use. ChatGPT super boy. Feel. It just would do word for EC2 instance documentation template. Not type you all the services. No, too far away. Not far away. Then fill the purpose.
See your life.
I go some government agency, which are some documents, template. No, my photocopy,
If it
right now, if you put the paper for the photocopy machine with printer, the thing they come black. Like
the template tire.
So they do on a leave form. Where I thought they say masa. This is the version. One paper then photocopy like 60 million times.
I said, so I go see the thing. I said, I mean, they say the person who designed it go retirement. You'll be
and
I won't pay
5 minutes. For 5 minutes,
I go there where I redesign it. So what I tell you, say, anytime somebody
I make it pretty. It makes sense. It makes nice crowd.
It makes sexy crowd.
I say they don't do photocopy if they want to go printer. Machine they photocopy, not they print. So if you don't want, I keep for them drive inside. Them network drive. Opa, you enter then you just print them and go pick.
If you go live and you write your details and then they see. So,
It's here.
the idea, say, they must say,
Wait, maybe why?
Oh, we left something.
Are we not supposed to do a connection? Wow. I did we just was a
See, just you.
A cow, wow, yes.
Charlie, I didn't make confidence with me.
that we read replica.
Where the database itself they were scroll magazine.
In day what you know.
This is the database.
Oh, okay.
Read replica.
But if they read replica, they use the same.
And say read replica. The read replica.
It's more complex than we see.
So the read replica for always did the same place. It's quite still the same way now, right?
I know, but isn't there supposed to be a connection, a separate connection from the read replica to the EC2s, rather than it going through the database? That connection fee from the EC2 from the database to the read replica.
So
you get me? That
it should rather even be this way. You see, for go to the.
You sure? Are you sure?
Yeah, so that's the main cache. So the even from the read replica, right? The data is cached here. So if anything, the request doesn't hit the read replica itself, just for efficiency, for performance efficiency. It is only when maybe data and panel requested them, right?
Yeah.
It's not in
it's
the cache.
For request, for retrieval.
Then no call request if you're
if
not
it's for writing, it has to go through the database itself. If it's for request, it has to go through the cache.
That's why they because what of the arrow in direction.
And say and echo see and we mono we should say. But so this arrow.
When she service no. They connected they call them this one, forget that. Oh, if you create looper,
loopy answer.
It be looping. To where encoin, everybody.
That view me.
Adika. Yeah, because I think I get it. There should be a connection about this one is writing to here. So this is more or less like a read and write, right? Because the arrows are two-headed. Unless say you be we head in everyone. Right? So it means
at the beg. Database ban. Which database is that?
So this what is keeping the relational database.
No, what be the name? The particular one you use.
This be a RDS.
RDS.
RDS will not be creating read replica. You know, be like Aurora.
But why? Okay, so the instances with the application, right? The top one, the public.
Yes, this is with the private one.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Charlie, for make people ask questions, so we're gonna make like it will be before pay we left for you.
Questions. Don't call me.
Charlie, you just prefer to change, Charlie. This thing,
don't call me.
Ideally, we should have learned it halfway through the program, but they want us to taste and aspire.
Taste and see, and you know that the Lord is good. Say amen.
Yeah, they want you to feel like an architect. You draw diagram.
So the you guys
and a placement in a young place in here. Maybe the RDS should come here, and then the mem cache will rather come here to face what is here. But the real replica.
You need the right, yeah. You need the rights into the mem cache. Yes, I suggest that there should be a connection
to the instances.
Okay, don't kill yourself. Save them. We do everything finish. I just say we have my care.
I will go post for the technical mentor this thing inside, and I will see what's next.
We've done what Napoleon couldn't do.
And yeah, my sister way, you know.
Isaac post it. Obey research. I make sure say correct.
Because I'm looking at it. So I said I will say something. So in the situation of using two Route 53, material idea, where's my book? It says
you write for the book of life inside.
My own handwriting, I already see.
The book of life.
Right. So yes, so for a normal user access traffic, right? For a normal user access traffic, there is what's it called? A TLS authentication that will authenticate the customer server. You understand? But then when you are doing REST API calls, it has to use, if anything, a network load balancer.
What's the REST API call?
Like so the REST API calls is like memada.
Post.
Put. Obi type in the password, no about wrong password, no be nyana me. No my catch and say, hey, your password is wrong. Or burn it 3 times, then I'll lock the distance. So it's like it's not working constantly. And it's when there is an event, that's where it triggers it to actually work. It's any REST API. But the REST itself is an abbreviation. If you are here, do Google search.
So it basically be the interface to either write to get. It'd be more like an integration interface. About maybe you get some application for some place where you don't retrieve information from the system. So the API will help the system. The two systems called communicate to write to retrieve about.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, so if you are using two Route 53, you have to route one to a network load balancer. So the API calls will go through a network load balancer instead of an application load balancer.
Come again. You say for route through.
If for route through, so the Route 53 will now connect. So if you are using two, right, the user facing connection through the Route 53 goes to an application load balancer.
Okay.
And then the API calls will now go through a network load balancer to the back end to trigger whatever event that it has to trigger.
Okay.
So in this particular scenario, you think they really need?
No.
Like
I mean, the case study didn't even talk about anything of that sort. You know, we can just leave it like that. But I just wanted to, I mean, like the use case for that two routes.
Okay, so the use case for using two Route 53 is if there is a need to use like REST API calls, right?
Yes, REST API calls. Maybe there is it's probably respond to events, something like that, right? It has to there will definitely be something that talks about it has to trigger something of that sort, and then
And then in addition to that, if the users too have to access the application.
Right. Send you back. In the idea we send you to Janice, I will see in your connection.
Sure.
So I was saying you two-headed.
So the failover happened. The instances for connect to one, right?
Load balancer.
So there should be a connection there too.
So I mean the load balancer they connect here. So if the failure happens, and they will say in your connection.
All right.
They will say in your connection soon to her.
The S name be what?
Standby.
Standby will lie.
Database.
Yes, RDS database standby. RDS standby. Yes.
As we said, the RDS on the left side into in a read.
I think this is different availability zone.
This one be different availability zone. So
the standby, what do they do?
So the standby is here for failover purposes. For false tolerance.
Exactly. So this S for instance, you get some information for there, maybe some biodata for the database data read the left side. You get some biodata for there. You get me? Where they come. Sorry, I come.
Make I draw this thing way. This thing if I did this way.
Where this thing cloudy?
The SCDD will just be me from what I read before. It be asynchronous replication.
Okay.
So it just save the data from the original database just in case of failover. Like just in case of error.
So we for do connection from here. I come.
Yeah. So the original database to the standby, and then another connection from the standby to either the instances or the load balancer.
We don't go if you do from here to here.
Because you go do. I mean, definitely it save. You can do the asynchronous replication. Yeah, you do the asynchronous replication.
That be my problem. So the problem is solved because standby I'm not going to say empty database. So the best not information I go with problem.
Yeah.
So for instance, that standby should be a read replica.
No, it's an asynchronous replication. You know they record them the way they read replica. They record them. They record them in queues. So that's the difference between the replica, then the read replica, and then the standby. The standby, if the read replica read and finish that, they push and go the standby, but in the same order.
Okay.
But
so what are the limitations? If, for instance, the availability zone on the left, let's say everything boom go off.
Yeah, if you go off
at all.
What has been pushed so far?
This standby here is more of a backup.
Yes, that's all. That's just it. It's a backup.
It's a backup of the RDS.
Yes.
Okay. Instead of mirroring whatever is on the RDS and creating an additional interface for retrieval. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, so it's basically mirroring the RDS, just that it's a different availability zone for fault tolerance.
So if you know go off, that means here no go nothing go happen.
It no go work. Yeah, it go there. It just go the replicate them for this as normal backup. Yeah.
Okay.
So in case the original one fail, no, then load balancer will switch.
Shit for happening before.
Yeah. The load balancer they check for the health all the time. So once it say it no be healthy, it will switch go the standby database stop, then the instances go start use.
What if the information they in transit to the read replica blast?
And that's why they push on it. They push on in queues, no? So
you go lose data. Yeah.
you go lose something, definitely. That one you go lose something, but it will be very large data.
Mm-hmm.
Where I sure say the way they work, no, you probably not gonna lose anything because once the read replica get them no, it push them more. So even if that particular the original RDS, you feel like everything will push they the queue inside. So before it go switch go the your friend is saying the standby no. Now the LQ ni na load you. So I'm not sure see you go lose anything like that.
Nti mo say connection biara in free hand kwa ha.
Some connection for go. Some connection for go.
If boy the collect too much.
Some connection for go there because
You don't be flow diagram. You don't be flow.
But some connection for go like something like this for day.
We connection. That lines go break.
Now you the ones in the way they confuse, it no be the lines in the confuse.
So right now, what?
So I can start from here. So this one.
So right now, the load balancer to connection, they say connection fuel.
No, I think the load balancer. I think say no.
Okay. The load balancer for connect the standby you. Okay, I'm just saying because if I have some sort of connection to
no, so the connection is actually at the camp. So the connection is only the load balancer, right? It's just connected to the instances here. So it balance the traffic where they come here. You say it does not have any connection to the database. The database here is just requests from the instances that are coming to the database. And see, request in the bar, it feeds it and then goes here. And see, all the load balancing happens on the instances. There is no direct like request from customer side to the database.
No, so how does the load balancer know that a database has failed to switch to the standby?
No, so we have to also know that the RDS itself, right? Because right now what we are doing is we are doing a multi-AZ RDS replication. And normally when you are doing a managed service replication, the failover and then everything is handled by the service itself.
Okay.
We are introducing a load balancer because of the instances. But for managed service, all you have to do is just do a multi-AZ deployment, just like what we have done, right? We have our instance and then a standby here. So in case it fails, it already knows where it is going. So as I said, where the second one is, and then it just goes there. Okay. So we don't actually do the load balancing. So we don't even attach.
Your wife. Isn't it supposed to be between the cloud front and the internet gateway?
Another thing.
I feel like for day between the cloud front, then the internet gateway. Because it be firewall from one environment to the other.
Yeah. The cloud front itself, they include some security applications.
Mm-hmm. This be waffle. Web application.
Yeah.
Well, secondly, to the read replica to the standby, it will be multi-directional because when you saw it's information what we saw back.
Okay, so we have.
So do you think? I don't think you should hit the read replica. You should hit the RDSL by itself.
Be true.
I don't dream big. I don't know if you see.
Make we talk about the WAF. You take like you convince me small. Near Dana. So the WAF for the
you can say the WAF word.
See the WAF for the between the cloud front and the internet gateway.
If indeed it's used to protect, why should it be after the internet gateway? For day before.
Yeah, because the WAF. So the WAF will actually tell. So if, for instance, based on the security protocol that you have set, the user will come, it will route them to the cloud front. Now, if the WAF is preventing it, I have to tell it that we don't accept. Yes, we don't accept this one. We don't do that here. So go back.
It makes sense, man.
Yeah. Now more introduction models. People do 2 modules, but
that's why I relax now. I say, challenging, yeah.
Oh no, this one there. We just the chair I drink.
Yeah, we did.
God do to grandpa for tally if anything. Last cat down on but she baby kekene.
God is extra buckets.
No. Extra the padlock that's all that. So I don't know. Yeah,
no, but God duty they check on the that be
certainly the whole infrastructure.
Yeah, the whole infrastructure.
Yeah, 24/7. And the hacker I think say it's okay. And the cloud watching here.
Yeah.
But we not.
Hey, what about inspector for the application?
The
relationship between the load balancer and then the scaling groups.
I mean, can me what inspector they do? Can me I forget.
It monitor the application for easy to instances.
Yeah.
What be the difference than the cloud watch?
Inspector before just for EC2 instances. That be all.
Okay. Yeah, okay. And then for two anyway. Auto
scaling.
Auto scaling.
And America, no. Fashion infinity.
So,
I so that like CloudWatch, you know, within that tally buckets. And it goes through.
But why you don't make it in the middle? Why you don't make it go up?
And
then connect them to.
Then I go connect them so.
Connect. Yeah, left and right. And so
oh no, left and right there. What do? Orange box now wanna pay.
It's auto scaling way, you know.
And I beg go zoom out, make I see something. I see some connection. I don't want
illegal connection. You can't do illegal connection.
Okay. Matthias. Okay. So this NAT gateway public subnet. Nejumani day.
NAT gateway just did for the application update or something.
Yeah, in there.
Also, NAT gateway just did it be one way
Bro.
referencing. Yeah. Please, why is everything the same in both ESDs, but the last part?
Good question, David.
Good question. Yeah, so the second AZ here for the last part is for standby purposes. Okay, so normally when you do a multi-AZ managed database service, that's the RDS service, there should be the second AZ, the replication in the second AZ is for standby purposes. So it is basically not doing the same job, right, as the initial availability zone. So it only becomes like this, or it only works as a database when this one fails. And then there's an automatic failover here. And then it switches to this one. And then now we start working just like this one should work. So here is just for standby. Right, but the main work is going on here. The main read and write is going on here.
So when there's a failover,
yeah,
that one moves from the failed AZ into the one that the standby AZ.
No, so when there is a failover, the whole thing just switches here. So that's why we have this connection, right, going on here. You get it? Okay. So immediately this one fails. It's automatic. It just starts feeding the instances from here till this one heals, and then now it comes back to normal. It comes back to the initial one.
I'm sorry, what is that thing over there?
This one?
No, the one on the left side of the RDS.
This one?
Yes, this one.
This is the RDS itself. This is a read replica.
This is the Oh, okay.
So the read replica is for reading. Okay. So when the instance is writing to here, it creates a read replica, and that is what is sent to the standby as a backup. Right. So if there is a read,
so the other AZ doesn't need the RDS.
No. So this more or less like the standby is more or less like a package. So what I say. And say I have failure. Okay. The whole thing it jumps, right, and then it starts feeding it in Jahano. Packaging now will create a write head, right, and then your friend say the read head is also inside. It will now turn.
Let me add up. You see the S you are seeing there? What is that? Is as you are putting information in the RDS, a copy is sent to the S. Do you get me? It's basically also an RDS database, but you don't pick information from it. You only dump information into it until there is a fault or a down on the primary availability zone. Then you start using the secondary one, which is on the right. So in that instance, the S works just like the RDS database. When this one comes back online, then information from the S goes back into the RDS database for it to also start working. I hope you get me.
David, did you understand?
Yeah, I didn't understand. First, my problem was because the R and the S, they look the same. So I
Yeah.
they were both the same.
Yeah, this one is for this is a read replica for read purposes. Sanya beya.
Okay.
Sanya beya pressure.
What do you use RDS now? The amano. Now the S is not palace.
So the R there is basically to reduce the pressure on the
pressure on this one.
Because if they write with the read at the same time, it goes slow them down. So the read replica is just for reading. So if the application will read something from database, it will go to the read replica instead of the actual database.
Exactly.
So that it won't slow it down. But then the S there, no, it is just standby like a backup in case the actual database fails. Then it will be switched to that one for it to work now as the main database. And so the actual database fails, then it will switch back. But my question right now is, if we don't create read replica for the standby one, we is switch over, how then go read? Then go read from the backup now. Isaac, did about my question?
Yeah, the
So do you think we should also have a read replica for the standby?
The question it be valid, but yeah, but I don't think we should have a read replica. Already they say that people don't get money.
But they don't get money. But right now, if the data, if the availability don't fail,
it be secondary. If failing so very slow kakra. They should buy with the customers. And then elastic cash crowd.
There's even elastic cash, so they can use elastic cash like that.
Elastic cash. Then why you put for the first one inside? Why you put read replica for the first one inside?
And then there's the standby also the full resource.
Yeah, I feel like the standby is a whole. According to a player, you do have to bench. Near say you warm up, your best is some way. You bab. So when you warm up, I wash a jacket.
Yeah.
Your friend said, "But anyway, you are tired, then you turn into a complete player." So, so I feel like immediately there's a switch over, it will automatically create a read replica or something like that. Because Makai. And now, you see, when you set this up and then you do a multi-AZ, there's a copy, right? When there is a failover, it actually replicates the same architecture that you have here. Right? The same architecture that you have on the primary AZ onto the what's it called?
The second availability zone.
Yeah, the second availability zone. That's for
so you go replicate you go just
just go take the same architecture then
and if it be so too there, then it means if you put the read replica for them.
No, Nina Shewemu, say ya.
Hey, there's a beggar.
Answer. You walk out. O bele be bana de ho e why be sack you this way they look at how this way it's complicated now Miss Mabaha sir Aruna it goes to and fro no Add it to that, sir. If it is just replicating the data to the read replica, add it to the was saying, you see.
So the read replica, they read from they read from the
okay, they read from this one.
Yeah.
And then this one to the right to
Yeah.
And so it will be one directional. Because if it is so, it's just like data going here. And then say to say it's data coming here. That is then just one direction to here.
For one direction. For one direction. Because the direction they go out, they go out to the application.
So
one direction.
See. Hey, my darling. What's saying you see?
Yeah.
Now Akaha.
No, that the thing say. Instead, say you could join that line to the first instance, the first EC2 instance. Make it be separate. They enter the RDS. I don't know if I'm making sense. Like make two arrows enter the RDS. One from the first one from the second one.
Isaac.
Yeah.
Because if you join now, they look as if
the connection from the availability zone, second availability to the RDS, maybe two. One be direct, one be indirect.
It will be two arrows. Because the one as you join now, I say essential call other instance, essential call other EC2 instance. Like in the Bible that I thought.
Can you
maybe the mouse not to know. The place as they join, the arrow be two. One they go up, one they go down. That junction, if for separate them. They look like they look like they connect both the EC2 instance and the RDS. Those arrows na you two who separating that. One make one come straight to the RDS and then one from the right side also into the RDS.
But is it necessary in the sense that right now you connect the RDS, give the availability zone, the secondary availability zone, but at the same time to the read replica to the connect to the standby. Did you get me?
So okay, they can make this one go so far. This is what we have. Okay. So here it's they are writing in the should it be bi-directional?
Yes. You write to the read.
But the read they happen for here. Do I also do for here again?
The read they happen for
they happen from the mem cache.
From the mem cache.
Oh, but the mem cache, is it always that we use the mem cache?
When we attach it's yes. So if there is a cache hit and then a cache miss, right? So if it's trying to read from the mem cache, right? And then
you go the RDS inside.
You go the RDS.
You go the read replica inside because all the information are replicated into the read replica. Information and then it brings it to the mem cache and then goes here. No. If there is a cache miss, it comes to the instance will come straight to the read replica. No abeji data, no. You understand? So now on obeji data no kwa. That is why here is bi-directional. Obeji data no kwa. It will write to the mem cache. You get it? So maybe data menhu I is okay my bow or maybe direction. And I watch them so men commenting when I turn left, I didn't day. Because me turn left, the direction was not there. So now I have to if I say ask another person and I'll say, oh, me call right. Until me call right, on my way back, I have to tell the person who gave me the direction, so, oh, I didn't need left to and we're right. You get it? So the person also now keep it in memory. So that next time, will be for bar. This time, Uncle Habib, right? He has saved it. It's been saved in the in memory cache or say elastic cache, and then he now feeds it. So for reading, it doesn't hit the RDS again because the RDS is replicating the data onto the read replica. So this one just serves as the master for writing. To Shremame Fakwaha. If the application wants to read that, it should read from here. So I feel like for this one, so just like in the case of Aurora, Aurora, it happens automatically. It uses one for master for write only.
Yeah.
But for RDS, if we say okay, create read replicas, then it will now use the main instance for writes. But the reason I'm asking is that if that happens, does it do it in the case of Aurora, like okay, for writing, and I say you can still do your read and write, but most of the reads, but on a normal, you just do the reading from. Let me just Google and see. So now the read replica allows only read and answer. So here also it should be, so not just a answer should only be, so the mem cache doesn't write to the read head. The mem cache doesn't write to the read head. Oh, sorry, the read replica. Okay. So yes, the primary, we are correct. The primary will do read write, but here it's for read only. So this connection, it should be one direction. It has to go here. Like this. But this one, it looks some way. I did we have
the inspector.
Uh-huh.
I say a look balance and airport. So we inspect the whole instance. Anytime you see any left and right now, who can see? Ewa do
to the look. But it makes sense. Say it go to the. But I think say banfin her just like Ukain said, I can't remember boa
the inspector.
Nah.
The way they me so I make kind of what I see, they say they monitor the EC2 instances for vulnerabilities, then so
And Janka, the left and right, you know.
They can left and right, like you say they monitor the instance. But once I will see auto scaling.
Yes.
You know.
And you have to connect to the auto scaling group. Send a bear support for back home.
You go see touch them.
Touch them.
But auto scaling group because maybe we get the desired then the maximum.
Maximum. And auto scaling and money. You see to the because I mean back. I don't know why I do. I'm too safe.
So now we are the one that because
it will make the work easier.
Like
Safe.
We have one, then see if, but so that when say to say it be more fault tolerant. More fault tolerant. Let's say in case one instance go down.
By we. I wasn't connected or how. I wasn't. You have to connect like from one easy to another easy. And I must say,
auto scaling group like they connect them. Say be group. So if the
W. I know.
Yeah. So the load make bigger, then you go add. Then you go add.
Yeah. So yes, the auto scaling. This auto scaling self. I was saying you say and I say it has to take over the whole way. Like I was saying, and for the whole subnet the one I said it. And I think it's duplicates into the subnet.
So then mine and my eyes fire, the one there.
Me safe. 11:52. Into most wa for money anyway, and when that has a
and that was he did a system inside. The work. Yeah, there'll be other what do you quite like that?
Charlie, it's easy like that. The way you would understand it, so everybody they understand.
The engine is here. The engine is watch now.
The engine is as you go deeper, we'll come back to it. But I'll post this. Yeah. I'll post this one into the technical mentor group.
You go post the diagram or the question?
No, the diagram. Say the question I'm gonna buy. If you have do bring this question.
I know what your session so.
If you have do bring the question.
Make what?
Tell me if I know what to. But Isaac, is there anything we miss, like any key thing that we for know?
No, me if I join, I join that open the Lucid platform.
Hey, class B, Yusuf, join early.
Me I did the hub, I forget.
You go hub today.
Yeah, I go hub today.